Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of the GOWEN Racing Podcast here on the channel, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever it is you listen to. And we are off of a couple off weeks again. My excuse, I don't remember what happened to Jay and I on the Kansas weekend, but Wilkesboro was a Sunday night. We are used to recording the podcast Sunday night, but when there's a race on Sunday night, it makes it a lot more difficult to record the podcast Sunday night. But here we are, Jay, a couple weeks later. We had a couple races under our belt with Kansas and North Wilkesboro, and of course now the Coke 600. How you feeling today? It's like the earliest we've ever done the podcast. I say earliest, it's still after 5 p.m.
And it's also, Monday as well, so
it is Monday.
Not the earliest I get, but
I
guess, but
time in the day.
Sure. It's good to be back. It's good to not have specifically about this week. It's good to not have a whole lot to bitch about, really. In fact, I think most of the things I have to say this week are positive about NASCAR, anyways.
Broadcast.
So that's a good change as well.
Yeah, I would agree. We have new broadcast to talk about. Coke 600, the racing. There was a few frustrations I had with the racing, but nothing that made me want to really complain much. But as well, we had the Indy 500, the Kyle Larson double attempt, which we'll talk about. I feel like we can kind of knock that out of the park first, and of course, we'll talk about Monaco as well, but we missed a couple races. Kansas, Kyle Larson actually won in Kansas. I was telling Jay just before we started recording, I have I would say zero memory of that race, Jay, which is probably a bad thing. I would imagine the race was kind of mid.
That kind of sums it up. Yeah,
I feel like I remember I remember complaining on Twitter about the race.
Yeah.
And about the car.
Well, it was one of those things where you and I were saying for weeks, like once we get to Kansas and Charlotte and stuff like that, if we don't see an improvement with this racing, it's all over for this car. In Kansas, we definitely didn't see an improvement. I don't remember specific things that happened, but I do know that it was a letdown. It was not what we're used to from Kansas, especially with this car. But I think it's, what we have seen a lot from this car, and I saw this point being brought up last night, which is why I'm remembering to talk about it, is this next-gen car, specifically at mile and a halfs at night, is peak. And Kansas, of course, was not a night race, so that could be part of the reason why it wasn't as great. It's just something about this next-gen car, and nighttime/cold temperatures, is when this car performs the best.
I definitely agree. One of the things I was looking forward to last night was when the sun went down, but as well, we went to North Wilkesboro, had the All-Star race, and that was an interesting one because I think quite a few people seemed to like the race, but I was kind of frustrated. I know you were too. I mean, we saw, tires once again not fall off enough, not make enough of a difference. Passing was really hard unless you were Ryan Blaney or Kyle Larson. It felt like they were the only two that could go to the inside and pass. Other than that, you could just put your car up on the wall, and the guy on your inside was never going to get around you. And that was really frustrating. And it took literally to the end where Christopher Bell had 40 lap fresher, right side tires. He still had to work hard to get past Joey Logano, who had I think stayed out. Logano stayed out. So he had old tires on both sides of the car.
That finish to the All-Star race is an all-time classic if they're on the same tires. When you add in the nuance of Bell's tires on the right side were 40 laps fresher, and it took him that long and that much of a struggle to get past Logano, which I guess you could maybe then credit a little bit to Joey Logano being the hardest guy to pass in the Cup Series, and every metric ever it points to that. If it's somebody else leading, it's probably not as tough, but still, a lot of that also had to do with the car, and it's just, there was so many people on Twitter that were falling for it and were like, but it was a great race. It was a great race for the win. There was a cool pass, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, Yeah, I want to be excited about that. I want to agree with you, but I can't, knowing that Bell's tires were so much fresher and it was still that much of a struggle for him to pass. This car is not good when you have that kind of strategy call almost winning Joey Logano the race. In the old days, in the Gen 6 and the COT, somebody stays out in old
His
tires,
race is over.
they are last before the end of the first or before the end of the second lap. Like, they're gone. You're hoping that you get an instant yellow and then well, actually, you're not hoping anything at that point because nobody's going to pit with you. So I don't know what you'd be hoping with a strategy call like that in the old days, but you certainly wouldn't be holding on to the lead for 15 laps and then getting out of the car afterwards and feeling like you got cheated out of the win like Logano did. So, uh, yeah, this car has still got a lot of issues, and they still showed up in the Coke 600 as well, but not as glaring. But you could see them, and I guarantee if we ran that race in the daytime, it would not have the same feeling to it. We would be bitching about it.
Well, let's go into that weekend for the Coke 600, and let's just go in order of the triple, where we had Monaco, Indy, Charlotte.
Before we do that for just one quick second, the Michael Waltrip thing was stupid.
I thought about that.
Dumb.
I was wondering if we should
never,
mention
ever
it.
happens again. I don't have a lot to bitch about it other than to say it was really fucking dumb, and God, I hated it.
It was just so cringe.
Yeah.
And then Fox focusing on it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And him like hyping up the crowd. I'm like, oh my God, give it up. Like, obviously the whole promoter's caution thing was a gimmick to begin with, which they acknowledged. They were like, yeah, I mean, it's a gimmick. But my goodness, I'm like, you can't, like, if a casual person's watching this, like, I'm not going to take that sport seriously. But, yeah, I did not like that either. And yeah, it was just eh. I don't know. It rubbed me wrong. Like, I knew it was just for fun and a joke, but it's still, I didn't lighten up enough for that. It didn't work for me. But
my old man yells at cloud hat was on for that, and I wasn't thrilled with that.
I don't think there was any young audience either that probably saw that and was like, yep, that's cool. So it was just cringe the whole way around. But Coke 600 weekend, kicked things off at Monaco. Woke up. I got up. The race started at 9. I got up at like 8:52 a.m., something like that. And I got out of bed. I walked downstairs. I'm ready to go. And, man, I tell you what. We already know Monaco is going to be boring, but oh my God, was that something else?
Yeah, that was bad.
They forced the 2 pit stops. Every team has to make 2 pit stops just to try and create an interesting race. But actually, Jay, I think they made it worse.
Yes.
It was so bad.
They didn't calculate that the teams would just instantly play games and back up the field for the first 45 laps of the race while their teammate runs away. And then it just becomes I mean, because of the nature of Monaco, you can't pass the guy who's running 3 seconds off the pace for the entirety of the race. It's just, yeah, I get what they were trying to do. I applaud them for trying something, as the broadcast was also saying. I think I agree. I think Martin was saying they need to maybe do it to where you have to pit within the first 20 laps or something like that. I kind of agree with that. I like the mandatory pit stops. I think you can adjust it though, and not have it be what it was on Sunday, because that was bad.
Yeah, Williams. I mean, they were like the biggest manipulator there, and you had Alex.
Well, Williams, yes, did play into it heavy, and I think it was because once I saw other teams doing it, they had to. But it was VCAR was the first ones that did it. That backed up the field hugely for Hadjar to pit twice, and he was able to maintain position while pitting twice in a span of like 5 laps because of how much Larson had backed up the pack. Like, it was bad,
and got a great finish out of it too in the points.
Yeah.
Did you see Toto Wolff after the race with James Vowles?
They were having a converation.
Mercedes probably had the worst strategy there. I mean, it just seemed like they didn't know what they were doing the entire race.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Williams held everybody back there in the last while, and Albon and Sainz took their turns at it. And
I'm convinced if McLaren had qualified 1-2, we would have seen whoever qualified second doing what V-Carb and other teams did, and we would have had the leader ahead by like a full lap, and the rest of the field just held up in a giant pack.
Oh,
I'm
100%.
convinced McLaren would have done that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was really annoying to watch, but yeah, I mean, like you kind of said, applaud them for trying to do something to make the race more interesting, because Monaco has really suffered as we've come into the modern era of F1. But
Cars are just too big.
Cars are too big.
That's the biggest
they're making them smaller next year, but I don't think they're making them small enough.
I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, so I don't really feel like we're going to really get much of an improvement next year. I'd imagine they're going to probably try something again next year too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they'll
based off of what went wrong here. Now, how can we try something different, but still, like, obviously, I think the only thing that they can do is still try to force the pit stops.
You're getting into a territory that we have gotten into in NASCAR, where when you're having to throw gimmicks into it because the racing is so bad, like, it then starts to take away from the importance of the race. Is probably the wrong word to say or wrong way to put it, but you just start taking away from the actual race when you start throwing gimmicks into it, because the race is so bad and the cars are so bad. You have to start throwing outside things into it, i.e. NASCAR with stages and the playoff format and all that kind of stuff, where they just started throwing gimmicks in there just to try and salvage something, and then we've been on this downhill slope ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. Lando Norris ends up winning. Max Verstappen really backed him up late in that race, because Verstappen was holding out for that second pit stop, hoping something was going to happen. Backed up Lando to Leclerc, who kind of brought Piastri into it as well, but obviously it didn't matter because can't pass. So I mean, you only have to hit the throttle 2 times the whole lap to stay ahead of somebody.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like whatever. But yeah, Lando hangs on to get the win. I'm not happy about that personally. I don't really like him, but still, his first Monaco win, and I haven't looked at the points in F1, but I would imagine he's quite close to Piastri now because he's outran him.
I will say, the last Triple Crown, the last greatest day in motorsports we'll ever have, we had 3 god-awful winners in terms of I hated the winner.
Yeah, IndyCar, who won? Oh, you hate Alex Palou?
I don't hate Alex Palou, but he's becoming Jimmy Johnson, where he just doesn't stop fucking winning, and it gets really annoying, and I hate seeing this guy win. Even at places where he couldn't win at before, even when he was still dominating. Now he's winning at those places, and it's like, okay, chill, dude. Stop.
Yeah, well, I said on Twitter yesterday, I was like, on a bad day, bro's going to finish second.
Yeah.
I mean, might as well jump into IndyCar. Not really much to go on about F1. Norris is 3 points behind Piastri after Monaco. IndyCar.
At least the championship battle looks fun this year.
That is true. Indy 500. Love the Indy 500. Was very excited for that. Even more excited just because Kyle Larson, of course, was in it. Absolute disaster for Kyle Larson, and I mean, we were talking about it last night.
Disaster of a start.
That very true. I mean, we talked about it last night. I've never been so stressed watching a rain delay in any racing series. And I wonder how he felt though in that moment.
Based on the video I saw today, him and his team were also very stressed out.
Oh, you talking about the radio?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that clip. People were going into him on that.
It didn't sound like him that said that on the radio, unless I
know, I thought it did.
Wrong.
But I'm like,
I don't think it was Larson that said somebody wrecked, because he couldn't see that somebody wrecked, and McLaughlin was already parked by the time he got there, and it sounded like his spotter or somebody was like, somebody wrecked, fucking idiots or something. And then Larson held up the thumbs up to McLaughlin, which was telling me like he was for sure like, bro, come on, we got to get this thing started. So I think everybody was a little bit on edge and tense and annoyed with the whole delayed start from McLaughlin's crash, Marco's crash, and the rain as well.
To be fair, I mean, I don't care who you are. If you wreck yourself under your pace lap, I'm going to call you an idiot too. But yeah, I mean, McLaughlin wrecks under pace laps. The race had already been delayed. Remember they said it was like Larson had like a 45-minute window of delay. And I think the delay was like 40 minutes. Like they were like right on time.
Yeah, and well,
And
that's
then
why
that
afterwards
happens.
Larson said he was like, I don't know if I had not wrecked out, I don't know if I could have finished the race anyways because I'm not sure there was enough time for me to be able to finish and still make it to Charlotte. So they were right in that window, and I've seen some discussion on Twitter around like IndyCar and NASCAR should work together to make it
Yeah,
easier to do the
yeah,
double, and I
I
kind of
agree.
agree. I think that Indy should be pushed. One person, I forget who it was, so I cannot give credit to who said it, so I apologize for that because I forgot. I've got to start bookmarking these things so I can have a person to go to when I mention these things on podcast.
Just credit
But
me.
they said that I'm not going to credit you. You're not that
Okay.
smart. Uh, they said that Indy should move the start time up 30 minutes. NASCAR should move the start time back 30 minutes, and I fully agree with that. That would give them another hour window for delays or anything like that. I think that would help a lot.
I mean, both when the driver does the double, both series win. So
Yes.
the fact that they don't work together and they put their events, so tightly together for someone to do that double, just doesn't make sense. I mean, Justin Marks also talked about it last night. I don't know if you saw. He was in the media center saying that they should both be working together more to make it
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
I think he said
obviously
like
they
if he
should.
had total control over the situation, like he would make sure he would do everything he could to make sure both series could accommodate the drivers trying to do the double and stuff. And I do agree. I agree that they need to work together and make sure that this double is possible. Because it's a big deal. It is a big deal for when drivers try it. It should be celebrated. It should be a big deal, and it should be possible. It shouldn't be such tight windows that the moment you get the smallest delay or anything like that, it's well, fuck. Are we going to be able to do this? Are
All
we
we
going
had
to?
was a drizzle for
Yeah,
what 25 minutes, if that.
and then
Like
some extra added in yellows in the race, and it's like, well, fuck. Now I can't finish the damn thing. So it's yeah, I do think they could do a little bit better. If a driver says they're going to do the double, I think that IndyCar and NASCAR could both say, okay, we're going to change our start times for this year because there's a driver doing the double. I don't think 30 minutes either way for both series is going to kill the ratings or anything like that. They can certainly, if they wanted to, they could certainly make a couple of changes.
And Larson, of course, after his failed attempt, crashed himself out on a restart. He said as well that, like with the way it currently is, it doesn't really make sense to do the double anymore.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he's also probably saying that a bit out of frustration and a bit out of um what's the word I'm looking for? Just being overall probably exhausted because like Larson's not a huge personality as it is anyways. He's not a very he's not a person who probably likes talking to the media a whole lot. And when you do the double, it's nothing but media and activations and sponsorships and all that kind of stuff every single day. When you're not on track, you're probably doing some kind of media related thing. And he's probably just a bit tired of that after the last couple of weeks, the last 2 years in May. So that probably also has a factor into it. If he's just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore because of that.
I hope he changes his mind
I
because,
do too.
I mean, 2 years in a row, the double is a failure for probably the driver that we expected the most from the double, which is unfortunate. And I mean, I would hate for it to end on that note of, you wrecked yourself out of Indy, high stress situation with the delay. I'm sure that was probably eating away at him throughout the race too, right? Like time.
Yeah.
And then you get to Charlotte and what happened there happened. So I would hate for his last double attempt to go like that. So hopefully he calms down and thinks about it some more, because I can't think of anyone outside of currently. I can't, like, on the current NASCAR grid, I can't think of anybody outside of Kyle Larson that I think I would want to represent our sport in a double attempt outside of maybe a Kyle Busch or
I can think of several that
maybe.
I would be celebrating doing it. Like,
Oh, I'd celebrate anybody doing it, but like, who
there's
do I want to
anybody-
do it?
No, that's fair. There's anybody in the Cup Series or anybody in NASCAR willing to do it, I'd be like, okay, fuck yes, I'm behind you no matter who you are. Let's do this shit. This is cool.
I'd even support
There's only
Chase
a
Elliott
few-
doing it.
I agree. There's only a few that I could see doing it that have a chance to win both. And that's maybe with me just guessing based on their overall talent because
Austin
you know,
Cindric.
it's hard to see how they would do getting into an open wheel car when they don't have a lot of experience in it. I think Austin Cindric, if he got into an Indy car, he could probably do decent. Maybe Kyle Busch. I don't know about Chase Elliott. Larson, obviously, I think Larson. I mean, his performance this year was not that great, but last year
He
before
was
the pit
starting to move
road
up there,
speeding
though.
penalty, he was doing pretty decent. This year, well, overall this year was not so great. He had a couple of
No.
crashes. Obviously, he crashed out of the race. Not quite as good of a performance as last year. I think in the future that Zilich could probably be a
I
guy
was
to
about
do
to
it.
say Connor Zill. I was like, mark it down now in like 5-6 years from now.
Yeah, I could see Zilich for sure being a driver, being the next. If Larson doesn't do it, I would say that Zilich is probably next on the list. I wouldn't be surprised if Chastain wanted to try it at some point in Trackhouse. You know, Trackhouse would be down for it.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
I don't think he'd want to do it.
I don't think he would.
I don't think SVG, unless Scotty was like really pushing for it. I don't think SVG would do it at all. I really don't.
I can't think of anyone else. I know, like,
Yeah,
for sure Zilich would be a guy. Like,
I don't think anybody in Penske would. I'm not sure if Penske would let one of his drivers do both.
I feel like he'd be more open to letting an IndyCar guy do it versus a NASCAR guy do it.
Yeah, you're probably right. I do want to see an IndyCar driver do the double of 500 and 600 one day. I don't know if we've had anybody, aside from like Andretti and stuff way back when, I don't know if we've had anybody that's an IndyCar driver do the double.
I wonder if it's just because the NASCAR cars is way harder to adapt to. You know, like we saw Kyle Larson hop in the IndyCar and basically have no problem figuring it out.
Well, I think that's probably a Kyle Larson thing. Like, genuinely, I think that is
Kurt
a Kyle
Busch?
Larson thing, to be honest.
Kurt Busch ran, what, 6th in his attempt?
Yeah. I don't know if they were as aero trimmed out in Kurt Busch's when he did his, though. Like, now they're pretty trimmed out on aero. They might have always been too. They might have always been really trimmed out on aero at Indy 500. So just take that with a grain of salt. I'm not up in my history of IndyCar. Kurt Busch felt like a really random one, though. Like, of the drivers that have done it, obviously
Absolutely.
Tony Stewart, obviously that makes sense. Robbie Gordon makes sense. Robbie will drive anything with 4 wheels. Larson makes sense. He drives anything with 4 wheels. Kurt Busch was a bit out of nowhere, but he's on the IndyCar side. He's the most successful of the ones that have done it, and obviously it didn't work in NASCAR. I think, did he wreck out in that race, or did he only?
No,
finish
he
a couple
finished.
laps
I
down? It
think
was something. He did.
I'm pretty sure he finished.
Because I thought that Stewart's still the only one that has done the true double of the ones that have attempted it in the 21st century.
Let's see. Kurt Busch in Charlotte. Let's see. We know where he finished. What is this stuff, man? We're going on a whole thing here. Kurt Busch, 2014. Finished 6th in Indy. Oh, no, he finished dead last in Charlotte. He did 271 laps. So either crashed or something broke in the car.
You're telling me that after 271 laps, he still finished last? There was that little attrition?
Yeah. Oh, engine failure.
Damn.
Engine failure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Yeah, it's still Tony Stewart then, the last one who has done the double. Robbie Gordon got close. He did all but 1 lap, I think, in 06.
Something like that.
That was the closest we've seen since Stewart. So yeah, I so badly want to see somebody do the double again and actually complete the whole damn thing. We got so close with Larson last year, but I think he was a couple laps down at Indy, and then obviously he missed the entirety of the 600 with the first half being dead and then the rain delay, and then crashes this year. So I say we got so close. We really didn't get it all close last year with Larson, but one of these days somebody else is going to do it, and they're going to get the double done, and it's going to be really cool, and it's going to be a celebrated thing. And I hope more NASCAR drivers complete it. I know we've been going on about this for a while, but it's a cool thing. I like it. I like when NASCAR drivers try it. I want to see an IndyCar driver try it too.
Alex Palou wins. I was not a huge fan of the finish.
Lap cars hurt her.
Yeah, I just, obviously there's no rule for those lap cars to move out of the way. They have every right to do what they did, but I don't know. From my preference, it was, I don't know. I have a problem with. I understand why you're doing it. Like, okay, you're trying to get a caution, trying to stay in the lead lap. what you did was not an issue, but to me, I took an issue in a sportsmanship way of there was
Yeah.
4 guys right behind you fighting for the win of the Indy 500, and you just proceeded to let the lead guy get a toe off of you and basically not have to have a fight at all, which, like I said,
If I
nothing
am
wrong,
in that
but I didn't like it.
situation, I 100% am like, oh, that's the fight for the Indy 500, the win for the Indy 500 behind me. I'm gonna get the heck out of the way.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to morally
wanna
stay in the way there.
Yeah. There's like a lot of reasons why too. Like, number one, I don't want to get out of the car and social media is on fire calling me an idiot for that. Number two, I don't want to have the drivers who are in second and third and fourth hating me now because I didn't move out of the way to help them have a chance at winning this race and all this kind of stuff. Like, I understand that they're fighting to stay on the lead lap. If there is a caution, they are fighting for positions, still all that kind of stuff. I agree, but there does come a point when it's your biggest race of the year. There's only a couple laps to go. Is there really that much of a point in fighting to stay on the lead lap?
No.
I know why they did it, but it's like, just get out of the way, man. Let the finish happen naturally. Let us have an exciting finish. Just move. Let us have this, please.
But now we
I
have
don't know
to
if
wait
IndyCar
another
in the
year.
future needs to come up with a
I
blue
think they
flag
should.
situation for the ovals. Maybe for Indy specifically, it would be kind of shitty. I feel like to start forcing them to move out of the way because it is a big deal to stay on the lead lap. But like in certain situations like that, just move, please. Thank you.
A gentleman's agreement kind of thing or something.
Yeah.
Like, I know that we're probably in the wrong right
Or
now to
maybe,
IndyCar
like,
fans, but
we probably are. And it's also like if we mention the idea of overtime to IndyCar fans, we get
I
into that.
think
So
I tweeted that once, and I'm a firm believer. I think any series that has oval racing, I don't know why. It's just, I think it's just because of the NASCAR mindset. But if you have oval racing, I think overtime should be an option.
I don't disagree with you. I kind of agree with that.
It just feels standard now. But like I said, it's just because of, we're so used to NASCAR.
Yeah, again,
but
maybe because there's only one real oval series in the world that we pay attention to, and it's NASCAR, and it has overtime, and then we go to IndyCar, and it doesn't, and it's like, well, where's my overtime? Where's my green, white, checkered? So maybe it is just because we watch NASCAR type thing. Because
remember Daytona? And the 24 hours, and what was it, the Mazda race that we were watching that ended under yellow? And we were like, you kidding me? We're like, man, we're out here in the cold,
in
the rain, and they end under caution.
Race for like 5 minutes and then have the race finish under yellow.
So I take it back. Every racing series should have overtime. Because I was disappointed. I was like, this has been a miserable weather experience. And now we're also not going to get to see them race to the finish.
Yeah, you're right. You are right about that. Because I was about to go on and say the one a couple years ago now, I think it was it Newgarden's first or second win where they had a pseudo overtime restart, but that was just because they red flagged.
That was his first.
To get a couple laps to go. Yeah, that one, like, it wasn't overtime, but it was technically overtime. That one felt like, yay, we're getting overtime, but at the same time, this feels really forced.
Yeah, you knew they had to bend some rules for that.
Yeah, so maybe I wouldn't like IndyCar having overtime. I don't know.
Well, if you have a proper overtime.
I guess if you have a proper overtime, if you have
built-in
it in the
one,
rules and it's not having to manipulate it to get to technically overtime. Okay, fair point.
But this one plays out the way it did, and Alex Palou wins again. His worst finish of the year is second. And I mean, it could go to the next races in Detroit. He could go there and crash out for who knows. God. But yeah, that's the track. But I mean, man, you see the way he's running, and I'm like, and you see the way the racing is outside of ovals, and I'm like, I don't really have a ounce of interest right now to watch the next IndyCar race.
Speaking of watching, I assume you saw the ratings numbers, right?
7 million, more than the Daytona 500.
That's huge.
Yeah, I was surprised
to see that.
That's huge. Because remember, we talked about this.
They had on NBC last
year. We talked about this a few weeks back with the ratings between Indy and Daytona.
We both thought for sure that they would have less.
basically now it's where I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay, like,
That's a huge number. I also don't feel like that Fox marketed it that well, but maybe they did.
and maybe they did it better than we thought, because I didn't
Yeah, I
really think
guess.
they did great
Because
either.
to me, it feels like Prime. They were on it with the marketing for NASCAR. That shit was everywhere to me. So
Yeah,
I'm really hoping that the NASCAR numbers did well, and I'm really excited to see those numbers just because I want to see what they were. I really hope I'm not disappointed.
it's crazy though, because it's like, man, you go for the Daytona 500, you get say 7 million viewers. Then you go to an average NASCAR race and you're gonna pull like 2 to 3 million. But you go to Indy, it's like, oh, you go to
They're
Indy
gonna get, like,
500, 7 million. We're gonna go to next weekend. There'll be like 800,000 people who watch
Yeah.
this race.
I don't think they've averaged 1 million the other races this year. I'm not sure that they have.
Long
Maybe I'm
Beach,
wrong
I
on
think,
that.
had a million. I think had like 1.3 million or something.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if you averaged out the other
Oh
races, I
yeah,
don't think the average hits 1 million. I don't think, and I believe as well. I think technically the 500 without the delays we keep getting it, the Daytona 500. I think without the delays it keeps getting, I think it still
that would
gets
help
more than 7 million or around 7 million. We just keep getting those rain delays every year, and it
every
really fucks
year.
with the ratings. Every year for the past like decade, it feels like there's some sort of rain in there somewhere that really just pisses all over the 500, and it's
Yeah.
really annoying.
Um. So yeah, great
Just in
ratings weekend there. Go on.
the bitching about Fox is not done though. We got one more week of it because good God, that IndyCar coverage was
Hey,
bad.
didn't even see the winner cross the line.
We didn't see the winner cross the line. We didn't get any kind of energetic call at all to the win. We didn't get the "this is and always will be the greatest spectacle in racing," which I get that's Lee Diffie's thing, but like it's also the Indy 500 thing. So we'll just say it, please. We didn't, or we did get an AI segment in the pre-race,
geez.
which was so fucking cool. I want more of that, Fox. Please give me more AI
Yeah.
segments instead of just actually using artists to make that stuff. It's really
God forbid
cool
you
when
pay
you
somebody.
use AI. It's also really cool when Fox cares so much about the sport that they throw in a bunch of people who know nothing about the sport.
Chris Myers in the Daytona 500.
Colton Urta.
That was oh.
I mean, the Chris Myers thing. That's one thing. Chris Myers is their guy for
Chris
motorsports,
Myers
so
goes to the
that's
NASCAR
one
races and he
thing.
doesn't know what he's talking about either there. I mean, you listen to him in like the mid-race stuff and he is insufferable. I'm like, bro, just shut up and let Jamie McMurray do the talking.
I have never felt that way about Chris Myers on the
I
NASCAR
don't know,
side
I'm just like,
before.
man, you sound so clueless right now.
Huh? Okay.
That's
really
just
paid that
been
much
my
attention
preference.
in those segments though, but maybe I'm wrong. But like it wasn't so much the Chris Myers thing. It was that they brought all of their football people for it, and it's like,
Tom
why are
Brady.
you doing that? They don't know. They don't know what's going on here. They don't pay attention to IndyCar. Bring in some actual motorsports talent that is going to put on a good pre-race and bring in some good stories and some good coverage and good segments. You don't need to bring it. I know they're big personalities and that this is your big race for IndyCar, but like you don't got to bring in your people from other sports that don't know what the heck they're talking about because they don't pay attention to IndyCar, and you didn't give them stuff to prepare for this. You just gave them a dumb AI segment of what if I was a race car driver instead of a football player? Like, okay, come on, man.
How many people actually cared? Also, the qualifying coverage was not
It was
great.
good until it went to Big Fox.
Yeah, like
When
it
it
felt
went to
like
Big Fox, they did commercials like every 2
yeah,
minutes.
yeah, and then like there was too many interviews with drivers too, like coming in the booth, and I'm like, man, let's just focus on the racing here.
I
Like
didn't find that much of an issue with that. I think NBC still did a good deal of that too. But when you have an 8-hour qualifying session to cover or whatever it was, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, it's not surprising when you're going to take some moments to just kind of have some fill-in stuff. But the last portion that was on Big Fox was always pretty stupid.
And yeah, we made it through that. I don't know. I can't think of anything I have left to add about Indy, but if you got anything.
The fire with Rossi was scary for a moment. That was
interesting.
the way Rossi was reacting getting out of the car. I thought that he was like, have you seen, I can't remember what year it was, but it was the old clip of the fire where it was the invisible fire.
Yeah.
And
That was what I was going through my head too.
Yeah, when the way Rossi was getting out of the car, I was like, oh God, are we having that moment again? But no, he was just getting out really quickly. So that was scary for a moment. Glad everybody was okay there. The Schwartzman thing was a bit odd. I don't know if you saw his interview where he he had his crash in the pit lane. He ran over his crew, and then in the interview afterwards, like mentions nothing about hoping the crew is okay or like apologies to them or anything. Just kind of makes excuses for it, and then doesn't really say anything about his crew. I thought that was kind of weird, but was also sad to see him crash out of that one because I was excited to see what he could do. After the first couple laps, he basically went nowhere. Um, that's Other than that, though, that's pretty much all I got. It was like a weirdly bizarre crash foot Indy 500, but like it wasn't an
It was
interesting
definitely
Indy
bizarre.
500. Yeah, it would a lot of bizarre things happening, but none of it was that interesting. None of it was that big, like storyline type crash or anything like that. It was all just a bunch of smaller incidents that happened that had a lot of attrition, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I'm not going to say boring, but it wasn't what we've had the last few years.
I agree. Also, like great finishes the last couple of years, which we didn't get this time. But
Yeah.
then Kyle Larson gets on a helicopter, heads to Charlotte early. So he made the race without any issues for NASCAR, and I was pretty lucky here in Canada with the new switch over to Prime. I don't even have to change the channel because they just put the Prime broadcast on TSN. I see like some people complaining on Twitter, and I'm like, I don't got to do anything different. I just got to turn on the same channel as usual and have no worries at all. That was nice.
I might be, maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. I haven't seen that much complaining about it on Twitter, but like, I was thrilled. I'm thrilled to have it on Prime because I can just go into my living room, throw on my Xbox, and put it on my TV, and I can have NASCAR in 4K now. And it was glorious.
It looks the broadcast looks so much crispier.
It looks and sounds so much better.
Yeah, they did a great job with the audio.
So good. And
audio
I
was fantastic.
saw somebody saying that the NBC crew or the old NBC crew is what's working with Prime. I don't know if NBC has got a new crew for this year, and if they do, I'm kind of scared for that. But apparently it's the NBC guys working with Prime, and that's why the production looks so much like NBC's. And man, they nailed that shit.
Yeah, everything was flawless.
It's the first time. Oh, go ahead.
I was just pretty well just saying everything was flawless from start to finish, and then also like the bringing Carl Edwards in.
Yes.
And actually credit to him. Exactly what I was going to say. Corey LaJoie, I think, did a good job as well. I think he's already got himself a solid future in kind of just media. Trevor Bayne was better than I thought he'd be. He was more bearable than I thought he would be. And yeah, everything was great. It was the first broadcast all year that I came out of it with not a single negative thought about the broadcast. I thought it was fantastic.
I'm sure there was some, but like there was so many positives that I don't know if I can think of anything negative. I mean, the final like 60 laps under green or
they had that big graphic. They're like commercial free, and I was like, "Let's go, baby!"
And it wasn't presented by anybody. They didn't have to do any segment. It was just there, commercial free. It wasn't. We're going commercial free with Toyota All Out, and then they give us a segment of that, and then 2 seconds after it ends, all right, let's go to commercial now. Like, God, I hated that shit. But like it's the first time in a year plus, so I don't have cable. So I've got to get it from totally legal places to watch NASCAR. It was the first time in over a year where I could just sit in the living room on my couch and enjoy NASCAR without any stupid trying to cast it to my TV if I wanted to watch in there, and then it breaks and the audio unsynced or whatever. It was the first time in a while I could just sit there and watch a NASCAR race and enjoy surround sound, enjoy it in 4K. Shit was fucking beautiful. Prime, I gotta hand it to you. Between that
Jeff
and the
Bezos
podcast and everything you did, that was fan-fucking-tastic. I was skeptical when they first announced the Prime and TNT thing, but man, that's like they nailed it, hit it out of the park 10 times over with that entire broadcast. The pre-race coverage was fantastic.
Post-race,
all the talent they have is fantastic. Chris Devoda is great. It was just, man, they nailed the broadcast from start to finish. An hour after they were still doing post-race coverage, interviews with drivers, all that kind of stuff. They nailed it out of the park, man.
Was Chris Devoda in the pre-race or something?
Am I saying the wrong name? God, am I
Maybe.
stupid? Hold on.
I was like,
Not
what?
Chris Devoto, not Chris Devoto. God. Holy hell, I don't know where I pulled Chris Devoto's name from. She hasn't been in NASCAR for like a decade. God, now I can't think of
Oh
her
no,
name.
no. See, I know exactly who you're talking about, but now I can't even think about it.
Oh
Uh,
dear God. Holy shit. Hold on.
I can't think of it either.
This is bad.
I know who it is.
I can't remember her name.
Um,
Daniel Trotta. No,
yes, there we
Got
go,
it.
there we go,
Got
there we
it.
go. Yeah.
She was great to have back again. It was nice to have. You said something about Trevor Bayne last night. You texted me and you were like,
Well,
why do
but
we have Trevor Bayne in this?
he's done like ARCA stuff in the booth. Has he been in the truck booth as well? I can't remember. But anytime I've heard
he's
him,
been in the booth for a few different races for trucks, I
okay.
think too.
Anytime I've heard him,
fair,
I'm like, I don't like you. So when I saw him in the pit road, I was like, oh,
Jamie
God.
Little, I can't stand in the booth, but Jamie Little, the pit reporter,
Very
I
true.
like.
She is a great pit reporter.
I was happy to have Trevor Bayne back because I think he always did a good job on Race Hub. So it was nice to have him back in a pit reporter role. Nice to hear Marty Schneider again. Of course, he's on NBC anyways, but still, it was
he's
just nice
probably
to
my
have him
favorite
back.
pit reporter.
Yes, he's by far the best one we have in the sport. So just the overall talent they put on air from top to bottom and on Prime is just so damn good. I hate that we only had them for 5 races.
Well, aren't we getting the exact same?
It's the same. I think it's the exact same for TNT too. Yes,
yeah, just graphics, I guess, would be different. And the commentary booth as well. I mean, Adam Alexander did a solid job. Dale Jr. was great. Steve Letarte was great. And it was cool that I don't know if they're going to do it regularly, but I thought like them bringing in Jeff Gordon was cool. And
that was probably
like
just a one-off thing for 600. But
I thought they brought in someone else, but I can't remember. But either way, everything from top to bottom was done so well. The radios, did they uncensor the radios? Because I heard some.
I don't know. It was hard to tell because there was a couple of times where they just did not care about what was playing on it, and there was no sorry for the language afterwards. So if that's the case, then man, streaming is legendary.
I didn't like if they did have cussing in the radio. I just didn't pay attention enough to it, I guess, because I never recalled hearing it. But there was
twice, I think there was the first time with the Hocevar's engine blown, and I think there was another time after that. It might have been when Chastain won. I think you said it's the fucking Coke 600 or something like that.
Oh, I
think there was at least one cuss word when Chastain won.
Oh, you know what happened?
I think there was 2 separate times.
So, because I was getting it through TSN, and I noticed I had a very slight delay compared to you. I think when there was cussing, that TSN was muting it. Because I remember when they would start to play Chastain's radio after the race, suddenly the audio cut for a second, then it'd come back. So I'm like, because that I noticed it. Now I'm thinking that might have been.
One then?
I don't remember that one.
Because I know for a specific in that moment when he blew up, he came over the radio and was just like, it fucking blew up. And that was the first time I noticed everybody on Twitter was also like, do we have uncensored radios on Prime? So
I might have to get the Prime free trial just for making sure that TSN can't censor it.
Yeah, I forgot that it is still going over air for you. So yeah, that might be the case. Which also is weird to say that I was watching it streaming, you were watching it over air, and I was ahead of you.
Yeah, weird.
We've gotten into the world of that now because I remember streaming back in the day used to be like a minute behind everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, it was
nice.
Go on.
I was just going to say for a quick second, it was nice to have things happen, and I didn't already have a text message to ignore from you.
Jeez, yeah.
I've gotten so used to just, if I'm watching a race and I feel my watch give me that little 2-click.
You don't look.
Like that little 2 buzz like it's a text message. I ignore it for about 30 seconds to see if something happens in the race.
And the broadcast as well, like, it focused so much better throughout the field.
Yes.
Like there was times.
There was times where we didn't see the leaders for like 10 laps.
And I had no idea what was going on up front, which were like good. Fox. You always, it's like it feels like 75% of the time we're just watching the leaders.
And
it was great.
Saying that, we have complained all year about how boring that it's become.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
That might be a broadcast thing. You know,
I think my opinion would change.
Other things happening throughout the field, it could completely sway our opinion. Because I bet you, based on, there was times where Byron was uncatchable, and if he was catchable, Denny couldn't pass for 15 laps, so they would go watch something else. If that was Fox staring at the leader the entire time, we wouldn't have seen the other things happening in the field. Maybe our opinions would be, well, that race was fucking terrible. So it could be a broadcast thing.
I am very confident my opinion would have changed by about a few races this year,
Yeah,
if we had
probably.
Prime covering them. But yeah, I mean, like when Byron had his 8 second lead in like stage 2, like
We barely saw him.
we barely saw him. They were looking at they were looking at actual battles happening in the race, and I was like, oh my god, this is great.
Not only that, we didn't have Boyer and Harvick talking about just random nonsense,
Like the steak they were gonna have tomorrow, like
quips at and making dumb little quips at each other, and Hamlin Boyer being like, "Well, I like that there 12 car. You watch out, this there 12 car on the long run. You watch out for him," and just like never saying a complete sentence and just being like, I can't think of specific sentences he would say off the top of my head, so I can't make an accurate representation of how he talks, but just the way he says certain things, he doesn't complete his sentences. I hate Boyer in the booth so much. Harvick is okay. Harvick doesn't provide that great of insight, though. You go over to Junior and Letarte. First of all, there is no one better at explaining strategy in the world than Steve Letarte.
Bro's
that man
brilliant.
is on it. It is fantastic listening to him talk to you about how a car what a car is doing, what this car in first is doing with their pit strategy, but he also knows what the next 10 cars are also doing on their strategy. It is just brilliant to listen to Steve Letarte talk you through a race and the strategies, and Junior also giving good insight onto how a car is driving, what a driver is feeling, and then Adam Alexander ties it all together too. It's just, the booth it's not perfection. I would prefer Lee Diffie, but like it's as good as you can get without Lee Diffie and without a few other people in there as well. It is just it is peak. It's so good having those three there together, guiding us through a race and giving us intelligent commentary.
I agree. Yeah, I mean it was just awesome all the way around. Now let's actually talk about the race. I think we just glazed the broadcast for like 20 minutes. But
yeah, listen, I got a lot of good things to say.
It was great. It was great.
A broadcast makes a race that much better, and Prime did that last night. They can make or break a race, and last night they certainly made it.
The race was made. It was good. And a lot of the good stuff we saw because of Prime with the battles throughout the field was great. Now, I just want to get the one negative out of the way of the race now, so we can kind of glaze the rest of it.
Okay.
Hamlin trying to pass the 24. That really proved that there's still an issue there. I mean, all the 24 had to do was throw his car wherever the 11 was in the corner, and you would just watch the 11 car plow right up towards the wall. Bro had to back out of it, and then he gives up all that momentum. He'd run him back down, and then it'd be the same thing over and over again. There was a few moments where he did get past him, and it wasn't impossible, but it was still just far more difficult than it absolutely needs to be.
Well, it wasn't even just that moment either, because Prime showed us the battles throughout the field. You saw it happen with a bunch of other battles as well. There was a couple of moments where Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski were involved in a battle back there with SVG, and like I think there was a moment specifically sometime in stage 2 or 3 where it was Keselowski and SVG battling, and Kyle Busch was like a second back, and they battled for a few laps, and now Kyle Busch is there, and it turns into a 3-car battle, then a 4-car battle, and as soon as they get side by side, it's just like nobody can pass. They slow themselves down. It wasn't quite that drastic as I'm saying it is, but you can see the issues with the car. And it unless we get into specific scenarios where it's at night or where the temperature is cooler, we're going to get into these moments of nobody can pass, especially for the lead. And it's just, this car has a lot of work that needs to be done to it. As good as things were last night, I think it was specific scenarios between the broadcast and the factoring in that it was a night race. It's rough everywhere else. It really is. And the complaints we've had for weeks now are still there. They haven't gone away. They're not going to go away unless NASCAR makes changes.
I agree.
The complaints we've had the last few years, really.
Yes, absolutely. Good good sides of the race. I mean, there was action, there was some drama, there was that late race battle and fight for a win. Of course, you had your exciting moments to kind of mix it up. The restarts, as usual, were quite wild. Jimmy Johnson made his 700th start. He crashed himself right in front of Connor Zilic.
He did.
He made it.
Start.
He made the start.
He made a rookie mistake, as he said.
He said it was a rookie mistake. And Connor Zilic right there in his first oval, starting nowhere to go. But Zilic did the whole race, which I think was crucial. I think if you're a rookie, if you're making your first oval start in the Cup Series, the Coke 600, that's wild. First of all, but I would feel like the goal there is just finish. And he did that. And Trackhouse had an interesting night because Suarez was running okay, wrecked himself with who was it, Briscoe and Blaney. That took out Larson.
He wrecked himself.
Yeah, he kind of squeezed him, but I felt like it was more still on Briscoe. Larson wrecks himself from the lead. Completely forgot to mention that. Spins out, damages the underbody. I was a bit surprised he damaged the underbody because it was a turf and not legitimate grass.
Yeah, I mean, he started spinning on the exit of the corner, so it's probably just. I don't know if he damaged it from just maybe coming across a track differently, because I'm not sure that the turf would have damaged it that bad, but maybe it did. I don't know.
And the toe as well. They were working on the toe link for.
Oh, that's right. I think it was more
so long. Yeah,
that's right. I think it was more so the
they did 8 pit stops to fix that thing.
Yeah,
and they eventually got him running actually decent. He was clawing his way back into the top 20 when the Suarez crash happened and cleaned them out. Shane Van Gisbergen, I'm telling you, you and I always believed it. You and I believed it, but we are seeing it happen. I mean, bro is improving. And what was it? 14th. Finished 14th last night. Now, of course, there was some good cars that got taken out, blah, blah, blah. You can say whatever you want. But bro was average running around 20th to 23rd, which is that's another step up by over 10 positions from what he was a month and a half ago at, a mile and a half to, any track really. But that's, I think, 4 top 22s in the last 5 races. So,
and not only that, I feel like Trackhouse as a whole is improving. And I mean, you saw it last night with Chastain winning.
Yeah, it really sucked that Chastain was the one that got the best bit of that. But
but Suarez before the crash wasn't running too bad.
He's 30th in points now, by the way.
Yeah, he's not been on a good tear the last few weeks.
He's losing his ride.
Yeah, he's had a lot of things go wrong the last couple of weeks. I think the performance for the team overall has been better, but he's not gotten the finishes, which has kind of been the same for a lot of people this year. Brad Keselowski's had some, especially
finished 5th finally.
Keselowski's had a lot of bad luck, but yeah, last night got a top 5 out of it, which I don't know how he did because I thought he was a lap down at one point and got trapped a lap down, but maybe not.
Allmendinger, by the way, great run.
Allmendinger was
he was fast all night.
In car all night.
Yeah, he was great.
He was quick.
Again, I mean, Ryan Preece continues to prove us wrong. Top 10. How about Legacy Motor Club? They've been really stepping up the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Where did John Hunter end up? Because I know he hit the wall and kind of KO'd the.
Yeah, I think after he got his damage, he was screwed. But before then, he was top 5, top 10.
Hocevar
was having a really good run.
I thought he was going to be a threat to win.
Recently too. So did I.
And I was not looking forward to that.
It's nice. It's nice to have a moment, and maybe because it's 400 laps, right? But it's nice to sit here and look at this finishing order, and you go, "Oh, look at that! John Hunter Nemechek, he could have won at one point. Oh, Carson Hocevar, he had a car to win at one point. Kyle Larson had a car to win at one point. It's fun to sit here and go, man, these guys all look fast at different points of the race." And it wasn't just one car dominating, and sure, the one car dominating thing doesn't automatically make it a bad race, but it is a lot more fun when you have a lot of guys with speed and have the potential to win. It's a lot more fun that way, in my opinion.
Several came and went. 24 was, of course, the top of the field.
Yeah, the
whole race. And just like Darlington, I mean, different scenario, but dominates and then throws it away in the end.
But I say
Chastain.
differently in Darlington. In Darlington, once he lost the lead, he was not a factor anymore. He was most certainly a factor the couple of times he lost the lead last night.
Oh yeah,
He
he
was still the
was.
fastest guy by far.
He stayed there with the guys. I mean, he stayed with Chastain. He still almost got back to him at the
I
on the
will
final
say,
lap.
I did see for the first time in this next gen car, and a lot of other people said it as well. Denny Hamlin last night did an interview and said that he was oddly better behind a car than he was in the lead.
Hmm.
When he got out to the lead, he just suddenly became too loose and lost the handling of his car, and he was much better following in traffic.
The air making it
Probably the
tighter.
first time anybody has ever said that.
Interesting. And he was
In the next gen car.
I bet you if Hamlin doesn't run out of fuel, he probably wins the race.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was, and him saying that kind of coincides with what you saw, because when he would get the lead, he could hold it for a couple of laps, and then as the run went longer, Byron was faster than him. As the run went longer, the car loosened up, the tires got older, Byron was faster. So I don't know if he would have.
I mean, we'll have to guess
Chastain
on that one.
was the fastest guy on that last run. No matter what, I think he was the fastest guy because he was fucking moving.
I saw him coming, and I knew like 30 laps to go. I was like, oh god. I was like, he's probably gonna get there. And sure enough, he did. I mean, credit to him. I don't like Ross Chastain. I like him more than I used to because he seems to have cleaned it up and he doesn't just Bodo's everything anymore. What did he do though? He did something the week. Oh, he Bodo's turn one at Coda on the first lap, and I thought that was stupid. But he's cleaned up a lot from the Chastain that I really despised a couple years ago.
Completely off topic, I know, but I'm watching Reed Timmer's stream right now, and he's in like a small neighborhood.
I'm watching him too.
He's hauling ass.
Bro
dude.
is
through stop signs. He is moving.
Where's the police? I see it.
Goodness
He's going. I mean, you can't be driving that quick. What if a kid runs out? Bro gets killed by the Dominator.
He's in a massive vehicle, and
he's gonna dominate some kid
road
when he runs him over. Anyways, Chastain wins. Thrilling ending as well, watching him and try to navigate with the 24. He gets around him. 24, I mean, was still not out of it, and he fought back, and he got close, just didn't quite have enough.
It was like a kind of a textbook move from Chastain as well. Just threw it into the corner, slid up, and Byron was like, okay, you fell for it. I'm not going to put us in the wall. I'm not going to wreck us.
But he put himself in the wall.
When he got past it, he did?
Yeah, he hit the wall.
He did?
Yeah. No, it looked like he was trying his best to stay to his right rear, and he just walled himself.
Oh, I completely missed that. I thought he checked up and backed out of it. And
no, he hit the wall.
Got back in the throttle. Oh, okay.
And I'm like, man, if you would have lifted, that probably would have worked out even better for you. But
I thought he did lift, so I guess he lifted I guess he slowed down because he got in the wall.
I'm sure he was also lifting, but you know, you get behind a car, and next thing you know, it plows. So
yeah.
But I mean, still, it's got to be frustrating for Byron. Wins the 500, but then, you know, at least two races there, he's kind of thrown away. He is leading the points now. Larson started the race with a 30-point lead. Byron now has a 29-point lead on Larson following the 600. That just shows you that fourth stage and those extra 10 points that he picked up in like stage 3. He still would have been leading the points anyways by 19.
Yeah, there was 70 points possible when he got 65 of them last night, so...
Man, that's crazy, though. 65 of the 70, and you still lost.
Yeah.
But, looking at the points... Actually, let me pull up the actual playoff grid.
While you do that, the stage thing is another great point that I as much as I like that they add in a fourth stage because it is the longest race of the year and, like, you know, add in a little bit extra incentive in that, I really hate that the race is split up into 4 even 100-lap segments. I want the longest race of the year to have the potential for the longest green flag run of the year to give us some strategy and give us some moments. I really wish they would find a way to make that final stage like 200 laps. I really wish they would. I feel like that would make the race much better.
I thought the stages were long enough, like, to really let things play out for... maybe not strategy-wise. You were kind of still the 50-50 split.
Yeah, that's basically all it was.
There was enough to kind of see the long run come in, and, you know, the long run guys could kind of cook.
But just no difference in strategy. So
yeah,
like it didn't do that.
Yeah, I would have liked. I think it should still be 3.
Last stage.
3 stages. 3 stages.
I'm okay with the
Okay.
4. I'm
Well,
fine
I don't
with the
know
4. I just
because you
wish
could do
that they
100,
could-
100, 200.
Okay, that's
That
fair.
would
That
would
is
be
fair.
that would cook. That would cook. I would be down for that. So, I mean, it's like okay.
Maybe they experiment in the future with, okay, this is going to be 4 stages. Caution at lap 100, caution at lap 200, last 200 green, but there will be stage points awarded at lap 300. And they could have an experiment of doing stages without cautions. Maybe that's something NASCAR could do.
See, I feel like as well though, like if you do stages, like say example they did all stages with no cautions or something, just hypothetically, this will never happen. But I know some people are like, we should not have a caution when the stage is done.
I'm not entirely against that either. Really.
Well, here's my
really
thought
not,
process.
but-
I don't think it's going to change anything because what is everyone trying to do? They're trying to get as many stage points as they can, right?
Yeah,
The
but it still
strategy's
forces
not
you
gonna
have to keep
change.
running.
Yeah, but
No,
I'm
I
not.
think it will.
I'm
think it
gonna.
will.
Well, what's gonna keep you from splitting it in half if that's the best strategy to get you the points at lap 100?
But is it the best strategy to win you the race, which is ultimately what your goal is, right? So I think that it will change the strategy, and that's exactly what you and I just said, Gary. What you and I just proposed. You said, why is that not the best strategy for winning the stage? Why is that not the best strategy for winning the race? Is what I said. That's how teams are gonna think. There will be differing strategy then.
I
So
still feel like we see that now, though.
I think we might see that maybe towards the end of stage 2, maybe a couple of times, but not really because
You'd
there's
probably
that
see it more for
guaranteed
sure.
yellow, so it's. I think you would see it way more often. You would have split strategy way more often, every single race like we used to.
I don't know. I feel like it's stage points are so important now that I feel like that's still going to be a huge priority that you can't
No,
let go
teams
of
will
when
still
you're
play for
fighting for
stage
the
points.
regular
I agree.
season
They will
points.
do that,
And
but we'll still have a different mix-up of strategy at the end of the day. Like,
I feel like it's the desperate guys
that
that
will
are going to be
happen.
thinking long-term race win only, you know? Like, oh, we have to win into the playoffs. We're not even caring
Yeah,
about the
maybe.
stage point. I mean,
Maybe.
obviously, we don't know. We have no idea. The only way we would know is if
Another
we
reason
tried
for
it.
winning your end needs to go away then, right?
There we go. But looking at the points, Ryan Blaney, he DNF'd again. He's at 96 above the cut. He's DNF'd like half the year, and he's still 96 points above the cut line. How about so Ryan Preece is 13 points above the cut line, and that's after that big penalty he got in Talladega. And then you got Allmendinger's the first one
really
out.
Consistent year.
Yeah, yes. But there's some surprising names that we're not used to seeing in the playoff battle. Allmendinger, McDowell, there was one year he was up
I
there.
wouldn't say McDowell was that surprising.
John Hunter is now in the conversation.
I feel like Kosovar being 30 points out is a bit surprising because I thought he would be in or at least much closer to the line than that. Chris Buescher
Let's
36
see.
out, by the way, is I guess because of the penalty, but
Oh yeah, I forgot they got
that's
that penalty.
surprising.
Yeah, because he was on the bubble like before the penalty. Keselowski's
I think it was a
exactly
50-point
100 out,
penalty, right? So
something like that. SVG 119.
Keselowski's only 100 out.
Correct.
Wow, he is. Thought it'd be more than that.
Keep
by
in
now.
mind though, we only got 12 races left, so he's got to
Yeah,
gain
that's
and
not
he's
good.
got to
It's
gain
just
at
not gonna be
least
more.
10 points a race, just about. Which I don't think is gonna. I mean, he ran great last night, 5th, but we'll see how it goes. We're still, Chastain is our 8th
Until
different
last
winner.
night, he was lower in points than SVG.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Actually, no, he might have been ahead of it. You didn't really. I don't think either of them
Well, the
scored
point
stage points
separation's
last
only
night.
19.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
but
never mind.
Keselowski
SVG
would have
finished
only
14th.
got
Never mind.
like
Never
11
mind.
more
You're right.
points.
You're right.
So,
No, you're so right. My fault.
yeah, I mean, as VG's improving, he's now ahead of Riley Herbst in the Rookie of the Year standing by 1 point. But
Man, Riley Herbst is just.
sucks.
I really thought that he would come into the Cup Series and like not win, obviously, but I thought we would at least see him competing for top 15s and top 10s. I don't know if that man has gotten a top 20 yet.
Oh yes, he's got a top 10.
Okay.
Don't remember what track, but I know he's
Still,
been in the top 10. I think it was one of them crash
Still,
fests.
it's been rough.
Maybe Texas. I think Texas was his best race, and it was because they all crashed. Oh, he was 14th. Sorry.
And speaking of rough, the last few weeks for Bubba have been rough.
Yeah, I was about to bring him up.
He got on a hot tear for a few weeks. And now he's been on a cold tear the last couple. It's
He hit
not
the
been
wall
fun.
on like lap 2. That didn't really help him.
Yeah.
He is 45 points above the cut line. Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, he's
Stenhouse
got a
as
lot of
well.
stage points earlier in the year, so that's helped a lot. And that's, for now, it's got him in an okay position. But I feel like 23-11 overall.
They've downgraded.
And Denny has said this himself with even calling out the team last week. They've been struggling a lot.
They
As
didn't
far
downgrade
as,
as much as Trackhouse, but they've gone backwards.
No, but I feel like they've almost kind of flipped the performance at this point. I feel like that they're performing worse than Trackhouse now, and Trackhouse is
I mean, last night
better.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Reddick was great. Reddick had a great race,
Reddick
and then he got a
started off
speeding
really good.
penalty. Remember, he was running third when he got
true,
the
he did
speeding
speed.
penalty, and then
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true, he did
proceeded to
speed.
try and wreck himself right in front of the leader, and nearly clean out the 24.
Yeah.
But
I
that
did
was
forget about the speeding
cool that we missed that. As weird as that is, like oh my god, thank God, like we weren't just focused on the leader the whole time.
And it's cool that we eventually got to see a replay of it, and that they actually
Multiple
caught it
replays.
and
It showed it like 3
and
times.
Focused on it. Yeah.
And as well, another one thing that just came to my mind, I don't really have much to say about the racing now. So
We might say
the
the same thing.
broadcast, they with the in-car cameras, and like I don't know, everything felt more serious, and them kind of zooming in on like the eyes of like Denny Hamlin.
Oh,
They're like,
the
look
zoom
how
stuff that Steve
focused.
was doing?
Yeah,
Yes.
like look how focused these
Yes.
drivers are. Like this is intense stuff. And I was
not
just
only
like, that is
not only him
great.
doing that, but like Steve doing that and being like, okay, here is why he's looking in the camera. Here is why he's doing this, telling us why a driver is doing a certain things. Even if you and I, as being a hardcore fan, we might look at that and know what they're doing. It's still nice having the commentators say that, point stuff out to maybe we wouldn't have known that, right? Like at the end of the day, it's nice to have the commentators pointing stuff out like that and like making a big deal out of it and making it just feel like the things they do are important. The racing is important. It's just,
It's not a
the
joke.
difference is
Every
night and
race
day
with Fox,
between
it
them and
feels like a
Fox.
joke.
Yes, it feels like a massive, just nonchalant joke that nobody cares about. But like the immediate switch to Prime, the Coke 600 felt like a big deal. When in years past, it's just like, here's another race on Fox. Here during Memorial Day. Support our troops. Ha ha ha. Like, it actually felt like a big deal, man.
I tell you what, we're gonna be cooking for these next 10 races with Prime, TNT. I mean, if NBC,
We're going to be cooking until the end of the year.
yeah, if
is the way they were
NBC
before.
keeps it up what they've always done, we're gonna be great. It's just like,
it's only
man,
9 weeks till we hear Lee Diffie gracing our ear holes again, Mr. Owen. 9 weeks.
but I'm like, man, we just gotta, and obviously it's not gonna happen, but this is just gotta be a way to get rid of Fox. Get rid of Fox and replace them with anybody that's going to put in
Renegotiate the deal.
right now. Buy them out. I mean, like if we can just
that
have
would be
one
billions. They couldn't do that.
a Fox replacer though
Unless
that
Amazon
is as
wanted
good.
to.
Yeah, well there you go. Jeff Bezos has the money. He's going to be like, you know what? I love NASCAR so
feel like
much the
unless
fans
Prime
can't suffer.
averages like 10 mil a race viewership wise, they are not going to do that because that would take billions.
I don't care how much you got to spend, make it happen. By the way,
I do agree with you because man,
Jeff Gluck's poll, 91% have said it's a good race.
91%. I thought
That
it'd be a
is-
little bit higher than that. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought it'd be lower. I think it was great, but I felt like I saw quite a bit of complaining still on Twitter.
I didn't see that much of it, but I'm not surprised because the racing still did struggle. Like as good as the broadcast was, and as good as moments as we had, there was still some moments in there where it was like, "Ooh, this car is showing its ugly head." It's not ideal. Another thing too that I really liked that Prime did is when a yellow came out, they didn't just immediately rush to commercial and then come back and still not show us what happened. They took a moment to show a couple of replays, talk about the incident, and then go to commercial.
Yes.
And then when they came back, then they could show the other things that were going on.
Yes.
We didn't have to wait 15 minutes to see an incident and see it on Twitter and in-car cameras first.
Yeah, it felt like, we came out of that race and we saw everything.
Everything that is wrong with Fox, I feel like Prime fixed instantly in 1 week. And it just, it makes me never want to watch a broadcast from Fox again.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I'm already dreading Daytona next year. I'm like, oh God, not again. I mean, I am thankful that we have got less races on Fox now. Thankful for that. But one race on Fox is too much.
And as much as I hate it for IndyCar that's on Fox now, it is nice to see now that we're 4 or 5 races into IndyCar season. I think it's more than that actually. I think it's 6 because Palou won 5 of the first 6. I think it is. Now that we're that many races in, it is, and we've had the Indy 500, which is their marquee event as well. It is nice to see that it's not just a NASCAR issue with Fox; it's a Fox issue, because the same glaring issues with NASCAR's broadcast were there yesterday and have been there all season with Fox for IndyCar, and you can tell it's just a higher up thing with them. They don't put on a good product at all.
They don't listen.
They don't put on a good broadcast. It's like they don't care about the sport they're covering, right? Like they paid all that money to get the rights for IndyCar and NASCAR, and it's like they just don't care to put on a good product for it. They don't care to put on a good show to bring in more interest, to bring in.
They just want to have it.
More potential money in the future. Yeah, they just say that they just want to say that they have it, I guess. I don't know. It's like you then go to the Prime broadcaster, which is probably the old NBC people, I guess people are saying. It's like you have talent on air that cares about the sport, and you have the people running the broadcast, from the director, the graphics people, the people that film the pre-race segments and the scripted segments and all that stuff. Like, it's all stuff that is dedicated to the sport, that puts a sport in a good light, that gives us informative, good segments and informative, good things in the race. It's like they care. They want to put on a good show and put the sport in a good light and give fans a positive thing to watch and think about. And it's with Fox, it feels like none of that is there. It is insane. I know the broadcast has been a big thing you and I have talked about, but like, obviously we care about it, and it's a huge part of NASCAR. It's a huge part of putting on the race and putting on the show to the people who watch. And just Prime, oh my God, I can't stop glazing. It was so good.
Put them down my throat, like so good.
But
do you have anything else to add? I think I've pretty well wrapped up my thoughts on the weekend.
I think I've said everything I needed to.
Well, there we go.
I think I'm good.
Well, it's race pick time then.
Oh yeah, we haven't done that in a few weeks. How did our last ones go?
Kansas was our last one. I picked Larson.
Okay.
I picked Larson, so I won that. You picked Reddick. You picked. I picked Heim for trucks. You picked Majeski.
I don't recall who won.
I don't. Hocevar won the truck race, but I don't know who won between Heim and Majeski.
Let's see. Heim finished third. Majeski finished. Where did Majeski finish? Did he crash? I must be stupid. Hold on a second here.
Well, he definitely didn't beat Heim.
Yeah, just still trying to figure out where he finished. Oh, he finished 14th.
Okay. And then
I don't think we had Xfinity that weekend, did
we? No, we did not. But we did F1 picks. Okay. Wait, hold on. No, that was.
I don't know if F1 or
No. That was the previous one. So don't worry about that. F1 is F1 racing this weekend? No.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, they are.
No,
Spain.
Never mind. That was IndyCar. Oh, okay.
Yeah, F1 is racing in Spain. We'll do that pick at the end. NASCAR, Nashville. We're in Nashville. Last year.
It's also a night race.
Woo! We had 5 overtimes last year in Nashville.
Joey
Logano's fraudulent title run right there. Yeah, we're going there a bit earlier than we used to.
Yeah.
So I won Kansas, so I'm going to go first for Cup Series, Nashville. I'm going Denny Hamlin.
My first initial choice was about to be Tyler Reddick, but then I remember 2311's kind of struggling. So, you know what? Give me the resurgent Trackhouse. I'll take Ross Chastain.
I was about to say Chastain. I mean, he almost won there last year until Larson wiped him and half the field out. Okay, so Xfinity is
None of us picked Larson, but that's probably going to be who wins it. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Xfinity and trucks are there this weekend.
Yes, we have a triple header.
So let's see. Trucks, Xfinity. Da 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 da. Okay, Xfinity. Let's see. I don't really know who won the last Xfinity. I'll let you just go first for the heck of it on Xfinity.
All right. I am not going to go with Allgaier. I'm going to go with Connor Zilich. Oh God, I just threw my pin across the room.
Nice. Zilich. Okay. I'm gonna go with. I'm taking Allgaier.
Yeah, that's fair.
He won, right? In
Zilich
Charlotte?
is gonna win at some point.
No, he got because he boned himself with the strategy.
He did.
I don't even know who. Oh, Byron took the
How
win.
little was I paying attention to that?
Yeah,
I
remember Byron. Right. And then Zilich got P2. Man, if that last caution didn't come out, Zilich probably wins the race.
Yeah.
Trucks. I got Heim over Majeski last time, so I'm going to throw a bold one into this. I'm going Corey Heim.
No, wait, I thought I picked
from
Heim,
Kansas. No, I picked Heim. You picked Majeski.
Oh, okay.
I would never pick Ty Majeski. So I got Heim again.
Okay, that leaves me with hoping that Heim has an issue.
You hope Lane Riggs wrecks him again.
Let's see. Hell, I don't want to go with Chandler Smith, but he's like, God Almighty, Heim already has a 100-point lead. Holy shit, that is insane.
Still loses the title at the end of the year.
Yeah, he could win. How many races trucks have? 26. So he could win 25 of the 26 and whatever.
Yeah, something like that,
and still lose. I guess I'll go with Chandler Smith then.
Chandler Smith. Okay, F1. Spain.
España.
You can pass there, kind of. So you're not just going to be stuck like Monaco, which I think Norris would have been screwed if you could pass in Monaco.
I agree.
So last F1 I picked Norris. You picked Piastri. That was, I believe, for. Would that have been for Imola?
Hold on 1 second.
When was NASCAR at Kansas?
They were at Kansas. I don't know if that was for Imola.
May 11th.
Hold on. May 11th. So Imola was between the 16th and 18th of May. Miami before that was between the 2nd and 4th of May.
It had to have been that one.
That's in Miami?
Yeah, which Piastri won, right? So that would be your pick. That'd be your
Piastri,
pick.
Lando, Russell was the top three.
All right, you get to pick.
Okay. I'm going to go with Piastri.
Okay, I like that pick. I'll go with Lando Norris. No, I'm not. Can't even. No. Max Verstappen. I'm gonna pick just because I'm not allowing myself to pick Lando Norris.
No, that's fair.
There we have it. A great weekend of racing in Charlotte and good racing in Indy.
Picks?
No,
I know who I'd pick.
Alex Palou. Now that race actually might be crazy enough to keep him from winning.
I don't know. That circuit is ass. So I don't know.
Well, I meant like crazy, like the bad kind of crazy. Like it's just gonna be like crapshoot. But outside of that, NASCAR in Nashville, F1 in Spain, and IndyCar Detroit, which we'll have plenty to talk about. Actually, we'll be should be able to do. Oh, you said it. Nashville's a night race, didn't you?
Yes.
At 7 p.m.
On Sunday at 7.
We'll try to record Monday then. Again.
We'd have to do it before Gears, don't forget.
Oh, that's true. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But we will see you guys. We should see you guys next week. Thank you for listening as usual. And we hope to see you next week around for the Nashville Super Speedway. Thank you for watching, listening, whatever platform you're on. Have yourselves a great night.